The best cherry pies come from fresh cherries and a delicious, buttery, flaky, homemade pie crust. These two things will give you one of the best cherry pies ever. I made this cherry pie yesterday and everyone absolutely loved it. Serve it up with a dollop of some vanilla ice cream, and you've got yourself a winner. Let me show you how I made this amazing homemade cherry pie. Cheers. Yeah. To start off with, I have about 2 pounds, which is roughly 5.5 cups of fresh cherries. Now, if your cherries are dirty, go ahead and rinse off all the dirt. I'm going to begin to take off the stems. Once I have done that, now if your cherries have pits in them, let me show you an easy way to take those out if you have no cherry pitter. Get you a nice straw that's not bendable. You're going to just place that in the middle, push, and your pit will come right out. And I'm just going to continue to do that with the rest of my cherries. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to be adding in some sugar, some brown sugar, salt, cinnamon, vanilla extract, almond extract, lemon juice, and some cornstarch. The ingredients and how much I used will be listed in the description box. I'm going to give this a mix until all that cornstarch is not visible anymore. So I'm just going to continue to mix this. And now I'm just going to set this aside and I'm going to get started on my pie crust. Here I have 2 pie crusts that I have pre-made. I made these yesterday. It really doesn't take a lot of time to make your own pie crust. And I do have my recipe posted, so look out for that. And my recipe makes 2 pie crust doughs. What I did was I just prepared them, wrapped them up in some plastic wrap, and I left them in the fridge overnight. And this morning I took them out and I thawed them out, and now I'm going to get ready to roll them. Adding some flour to my surface. So make sure you do add flour. This will make it easier to roll out, and that way the pie crust does not stick to your surface. So I roughly just want to roll this out enough so that it does hang over the pie plate about an inch or two. You do want that overhang, and I will show you why later. The way that I do this, I just roll out my pie crust, and then I just flip my pie plate, and it looks like it's pretty big. So this is good. Now I'm going to be adding some flour onto my pie crust, and with my rolling pin, I'm actually going to use that to roll up the pie crust, and then this just makes it easier to flip it over on the pie plate. And now all I'm going to be doing is going around and making sure it's all set, all nice down on the pie plate. With some scissors, I am going to be cutting a little bit off on the sides. Now, don't cut it too much. You still want some overhang. And with a fork, I'm just going to poke some holes, and this will allow for even baking. I'm going to start to roll the other pie crust out, and this one I'm going to use for the design for the pie. And now that it's all rolled out, I actually have this roller. If you don't have something like this, it's perfectly fine. You can just use a pizza cutter, um, or a knife. That would work too. But this one I like because it actually has the little crimps right here and it will give it a design. And I'm just going to start cutting some strips. Roll out about 8 to 10 strips. After I'm done with that, I'm going to start adding my cherries into my pie plate with all that juice. And I'm just going to smooth this out, making sure that it is all covered. To this, I do have 1 tablespoon of cold butter cut into small cubes. I'm going to be placing those right on top. And now I'm going to show you how I do my design. So I just add some strips. Here I'm going to add 5. And then I'm going to be rolling up one here, one there, one here, one there, as you see how I'm making. And then on the other side, I do the same thing. And then lay down another strip, put the strips back, and then I just continue to do that with the rest. You can definitely do whatever design that you want on your pie. I find this actually gives it such a pretty look, but definitely you can do whatever design that you like. There are many, many designs that you can go off of on Pinterest also. And then adding my last strip. And I will go on the sides with the scissors once again and remove some of that overhang. Now it's your choice if you want to roll the overhang over or if you want to tuck it under. It really doesn't make a difference because either way, it's going to come out beautiful. And remember, it does not have to be perfect because once it finishes baking, the crust actually does puff up a little bit and it'll basically look beautiful either way. And to give my pie a nicer design, I basically just use my fingers, roll them up, and do the design this way. But you can choose to do your design any way you like. And now this is finished, but I'm going to place it in the freezer so that the crust sets for about 15 to 20 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm getting 1 large egg with 1 tablespoon of milk. Now I'm going to whisk this together. This is going to be to brush on top of the pie. And after 20 minutes, took my pie out of the freezer, and now I'm going to just brush on that egg wash. You want to make sure that you brush on enough. This will give you that nice golden crust. And to give it that little extra touch of sweetness, I'm going to sprinkle on some plain sugar. What I have here is just a pizza pan and I put some foil on it. I placed my pie on there. And you don't want to just put your pie into the oven like that because the juices might come bursting out and then you're going to have a huge mess. So make sure that you cover it on the bottom. And this is going to go into the oven at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. And then I'm going to lower down the heat to 375 and finish baking it for an additional 40 to 45 minutes. The pie is ready. I took it out of the oven. So like I said, it was at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. And then I lowered the temperature to 375 and I let it bake for an additional 45 minutes. Once I saw that it was all going out, all nice and bubbly, that's the time that you take it out. And now I have to let it cool. You should let it cool a minimum of 2 hours to 4 hours. So don't be in a hurry, let it cool, and then we can slice into it. I let the pie cool for 2 hours, and now it's time to try it. And of course, because I made this pie, I am going to get myself a nice big piece. The fresh cherries, that homemade buttery crust takes it over the top. You simply cannot have a slice of this cherry pie without that dollop of vanilla ice cream. It just goes so good together. Cheers. Yeah.